He stands by the window. The light is pouring in, but his energy is not. 65 years old. Strong hands. Still walks without a cane. But the spark? The presence? It's faded. Maybe you know that feeling. You wake up, and even though you slept 8 hours, your mind is still foggy. Your body feels like it's dragging behind your spirit. The mirror says you're still here, but inside, something feels distant. Let me ask you something. What if the problem isn't age? What if you're not slowing down because you're old, but because your system hasn't gotten the right signal? Hi, I'm Dr. Catherine Rocker. I've spent the last 30 years helping men over 60 rebuild their strength, confidence, and energy, not with gimmicks, not with pills, but by resetting the way their bodies were designed to work all along. And here's what I've learned, after thousands of conversations with men who thought they were just getting old. Aging doesn't mean you fall apart. It just means you need a new rhythm. In this video, I want to walk beside you. Not to lecture. Not to preach. But to show you 3 powerful pillars that can completely reshape how you feel in your body. We call them Eat, Move, Live. They're not extreme. They're not complicated. But when done right, they speak to the parts of you that still want to fight. Still want to flirt. Still want to feel like yourself again. So if you're ready, let's begin with the most misunderstood part of aging, your internal chain reaction. Because when one system slows down, the rest don't collapse. They wait. And if you know how to restart the first one, the rest will follow. Let's unlock that first link together. Let me tell you something most men never hear from their doctor. Your body doesn't fall apart all at once. It breaks rhythm, one system at a time. At first, it's small. You feel a little more tired in the afternoons. You forget why you walked into a room. Your legs feel heavier. Your patience gets shorter. You think, I'm just getting older, but inside, something else is happening. After 60, 3 systems begin to slow down quietly, and they trigger everything else. Your blood vessels, your nervous system, and your muscles. When your blood doesn't flow like it used to, your brain gets less oxygen. Your heart works harder. Your groin feels distant. When your nervous system loses its rhythm, your sleep becomes shallow. Your stress builds. You start snapping at people you love without knowing why. And when your muscles stop firing like they used to, your balance shifts. Your walk changes. Your strength and your confidence fade without warning. These aren't isolated problems. They're dominoes. And it usually starts with just one weak link. One skipped breakfast. 1 week without movement. 1 month of bad sleep. And suddenly, the man who used to wake up clear, curious, and grounded, barely recognizes himself anymore. But here's the good news, you don't need to fix everything. You just need to find that first domino. That one signal that tells your body, we're starting again. That signal often begins with something simple, food. Not pills. Not supplements. Not a gym membership. Real food. The kind that reawakens circulation, tells your hormones to get back to work, and reminds your brain, I'm still in here. That's where we start next, with the way you eat. Because what you eat, and when you eat it, can become the most powerful tool for turning this whole system back on. And once your body hears the signal, everything changes. Let's walk into that moment together, the first pillar, eat. Let's begin with something you've done every day of your life, eating. But after 60, eating isn't just about calories. It's about chemistry. It's about sending a message to your body that says, keep building. I remember a patient, Gerald. 67. Big frame. Former construction foreman. He sat across from me and said, Doc, I don't know what's happening. I'm tired by 10 a.m., and my brain just checks out. I asked him what he had for breakfast. He shrugged. Just coffee and a slice of toast, that's all I feel like. And that, right there, was the problem. After 60, your body isn't just waking up from sleep, it's waking up from rebuilding. Overnight, your muscles break down. Your hormones reset. Your brain clears toxins. But without the right fuel in the morning, none of that recovery gets locked in. Here's what most men don't know. Your testosterone, nitric oxide, and cognitive performance are all influenced, not by age alone, but by how you start your day. So I gave Gerald a simple routine. No pills. No powders. Just real food at the right time. Here's the exact breakfast I shared with him. A glass of warm water, to rehydrate blood volume and jumpstart circulation. Half an avocado, full of monounsaturated fats that fuel testosterone production. 1 banana, rich in potassium and tryptophan, to regulate mood and blood pressure. A handful of pumpkin seeds, packed with zinc and magnesium, critical for blood flow and hormone balance. That's it. 15 minutes. No cooking. No excuses. 2 weeks later, Gerald came back. He was smiling. He said, Doc, I didn't expect much. But something's different. I'm not crashing at 10 a.m. anymore. I'm walking taller. My mind feels clearer. That's not magic. That's biology. Woken up by food, not stimulants. And it's not just what you eat, it's when. Your body is most sensitive to blood sugar, hormone signals, and inflammation in the first hour after waking. That's your window. Miss it, and your energy gets pulled in the wrong direction. Catch it, and everything, mood, focus, libido, rises with it. So tomorrow morning, skip the empty toast. Skip the silence. Give your body what it's been waiting for. Because food isn't just fuel, it's language. And when you speak to your body in the right words, your brain listens. Your hormones respond. Your vitality remembers. But remember, food only delivers the message. To keep the signal going, you need to spread it through your entire body. And that's where movement comes in. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you moved, not to exercise, not to burn calories, but just to feel alive in your body? See, most men over 60 think they need to push harder, lift heavier, sweat more. But the truth is, at this stage in life, movement isn't about intensity. It's about signal. It's a message to your brain, your circulation, your nervous system, that says, I'm still here. I'm still building. I remember a man named Ray, 72 years old. He had a quiet strength to him. Former Army vet. Still wore boots every day. But he came into my office with a heaviness in his eyes. Doc, he said, I feel like I'm fading. My body's fine, but I'm just not there anymore. We talked. And then I asked one simple question. How often do you move, not exercise? Just move. He thought about it and said, I guess I don't. I sit most of the day. Mornings, afternoons, evenings. I don't feel like doing much. And there it was. Because here's the science. When you stop moving, your hippocampus, the part of your brain tied to memory and emotion, starts to shrink. Your dopamine levels drop. Your blood gets sluggish. Your energy, your clarity, your connection to others, they don't disappear. They just fall asleep. So I gave Ray a rhythm. Not a workout. A ritual. Morning, 10-minute walk outside. No headphones. Just sunlight and steps. Midday, stand and stretch every 90 minutes, reach up, breathe deep, reset your spine. Evening, 3 minutes of gentle spinal twists or deep squats before bed. Not to tire your body, but to ground it. That's it. 1 week later, Ray came back and said, "Doc, I'm still old. But I don't feel old. Something's turning back on." Exactly. Because movement isn't about doing more, it's about waking up the systems that age tries to turn off. Your brain craves motion. Your joints need circulation. Your hormones respond to small, steady activity, not punishment. And don't be fooled by the silence of aging. Stillness isn't peace. It's often stagnation. But when you begin to move, even gently, your body remembers. Your blood flows. Your balance returns. And your mind feels present again. But movement without meaning is just repetition. To truly thrive, you also need connection, to your own purpose, to others, and to rest. And that brings us to the next pillar, the one most overlooked but most healing of all: how you live. Let me share a truth most men don't say out loud: you can eat well, you can move your body, and still feel completely empty inside. Because real vitality isn't just about what your body does, it's about how you live. And after 60, the way you live changes. Maybe the house is quieter now. Maybe your career is winding down. Maybe the friends who used to call don't call as often. And slowly, without warning, the days begin to blend together. You go to bed not tired, but disconnected. You wake up not refreshed, but unsure what today is even for. That's what happened to David. He was 74. Retired accountant. Widowed. Still sharp. Still polite. But when he sat across from me, I saw something missing in his face. He said, "I don't know, Doc. I eat right. I take walks. But I still feel like I'm not even here." I asked him, "When was the last time you had a real conversation?" He looked down. "I guess it's been a while. Here's what we often forget. After 60, oxytocin and serotonin, the hormones of bonding and emotional stability, start to fade. Not because you're broken, but because modern life often leaves men disconnected. But that can change, beautifully, when you make 3 simple shifts. First, reach out. 1 call a day. A friend. A son. A neighbor. Even if it's short. Even if it's awkward. Human connection literally changes your blood chemistry. Second, join something. A community group, a book club, a walking circle, even online. You don't need to talk much. Just show up. That presence tells your nervous system, "I belong." Third, reclaim your sleep. Not by forcing rest, but by creating a nighttime ritual your body learns to trust. I told David to try something gentle. Dim the lights an hour before bed. Sip 4 ounces of tart cherry juice, rich in melatonin and anti-inflammatory compounds. Play soft instrumental music, no screens. Lie in bed and do 5 slow breaths, in for 4, out for 6. He laughed. I haven't done bedtime routines since my kids were little, I smiled. Exactly, and your body still remembers. 3 weeks later, he came back. Different posture. Lighter tone. He said, "Doc, I'm sleeping. Deep sleep." And I even called my brother. We talked for an hour. That's not just health. That's healing. You see, connection isn't optional. It's essential. Without it, you can eat all the right foods, stretch every morning, take every vitamin, and still feel invisible. But when you start to live with intention, even just one small act of connection or care each day, you wake up not just as a man, but as a man with purpose. And there's one more reason this matters. When we live disconnected, we tend to make silent mistakes. Habits we don't even realize are dragging us down. Let's talk about those next. If you've made it this far, you're already different from most. You're not coasting. You're not settling. You're paying attention. But even men who care about their health often fall into silent traps that slowly wear them down, not because they're lazy, but because no one ever showed them a better way. I've watched it happen to men who eat clean, walk daily, and take their vitamins. Still, they feel tired, disconnected, and out of sync. Why? Because mistakes made in silence create damage in the shadows. Let me walk you through the 5 most common habits that quietly drain men over 60, and how to reverse them with grace. 1. Skipping breakfast, missing the morning hormone spark. You think, "I'm not hungry," or "I'll just have coffee." But what you're really doing is telling your brain and your hormones, "There's no fuel today." After 60, your testosterone and nitric oxide levels drop faster in the morning, and skipping breakfast leaves your body in a stress state. Solution: even a small breakfast, half an avocado, a banana, and a glass of warm water, can send the signal, "We're rebuilding today." 2. Shallow breathing. Starving the brain of oxygen. Men hold tension in the shoulders, in the chest. Without even noticing, they breathe in short, tight bursts. This low oxygen state keeps your brain foggy, your heart rate elevated, and your nervous system stuck in fight or flight. Solution: 3 times a day, stop and do this. Inhale through the nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 4. Exhale through the mouth for 6. Repeat 3 rounds. It will lower cortisol, reset your rhythm, and restore calm. 3. Avoiding sunlight, disrupting your hormonal clock. Many older men spend their mornings indoors. The kitchen, the car, the TV chair. But light is not just light. It's a hormone switch. Morning sunlight helps regulate your circadian rhythm, dopamine, and testosterone. Without it, your sleep suffers. Your mood dips. Your energy fades. Solution: step outside within 30 minutes of waking. 5 to 10 minutes. No sunglasses. No phone. Just your skin and your eyes, telling your brain, it's time to wake up. 4. Cutting healthy fats, blocking testosterone production. You've heard that fat is bad. But that's outdated. Your hormones, your brain, your joints, all require fat. The problem is processed fat. The solution? Natural, nourishing fat. Solution: include half an avocado, a spoon of olive oil, or a small handful of walnuts daily. These fats are fuel for your testosterone, circulation, and cognition. 5. Poor sleep habits, killing recovery without knowing it. This one's silent. You may think you're resting, but if your sleep is shallow, broken, or restless, your body doesn't rebuild. Testosterone drops. Growth hormone stalls. Your blood vessels don't repair. And you wake up in survival mode, not renewal mode. Solution: start a wind down ritual. No screens 1 hour before bed. Sip tart cherry juice. Stretch or breathe. Go to bed at the same time each night. I remember Howard, 70 years old. Thought he was doing everything right. One morning, he stood up too fast, blacked out, and hit the floor. He came in embarrassed. "I guess I'm just getting old," he said. But he wasn't. He was skipping breakfast, breathing shallow, never going outside, eating low-fat everything, and falling asleep to the TV every night. We changed 5 things. In 2 weeks, he felt sharper. In 1 month, he was back to walking 2 miles each morning. Strong. Calm. Steady. You see, it's never too late to fix the foundation. Even small adjustments, done with consistency, can turn everything around. But you don't have to fix it all at once. Start with 1. Then 2. Because what happens when you begin to shift your rhythm? Your body doesn't just notice. It responds. Let's talk about what that response actually looks like in 7, 14, and 30 days. Let's be real for a moment. You've probably tried things before. Diets. Routines. Resolutions. Maybe they worked for a week. Maybe not at all. And now you might be wondering, if I actually do all this, eat better, move more, sleep with intention, will it even matter? Let me answer that with one simple word: yes. But not because it's magic. Because it's biology. Your body doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs a new direction. And when you give it that, gently, consistently, you'll begin to feel what I call the July 14th 30 effect. In 7 days, your system starts to wake up. You'll feel less bloated. Your sleep becomes deeper. Your mind? A little clearer in the mornings. The 2 p.m. crash? Not as sharp. You may not look different in the mirror, but inside, your blood vessels are softening. Your nervous system is calming. Your hormones are listening. You're not changing overnight. But you've stopped sinking. And that's everything. In 14 days, energy begins to rise from within. You'll wake up without dreading the day. Your legs feel lighter. Your thoughts don't wander as much. That old spark? It flickers. Testosterone is starting to rebuild. Your digestion improves. You move without pain, and maybe, for the first time in years, with purpose. And if you're married or in a relationship, your partner might notice the shift before you do. That's what happened with my patient, Felix. 75 years old. Quiet, reserved. After 2 weeks of small, steady changes, his wife leaned in and said, "Where have you been? You seem more you." He told me, "Doc, I didn't even know I was missing. In 30 days, you meet a version of yourself you thought was gone. Your steps are firmer. Your skin looks brighter. Your mornings feel yours again. You catch yourself humming, smiling, feeling like a man in charge of his life. And no, you're not 30 again. You're something more powerful. You're present. Your hormones are stabilizing. Your circulation is steady. Your brain is more focused. And your emotional resilience, stronger than ever. The biggest shift? You start trusting your body again. You see, aging doesn't erase your potential. It just asks a different question: are you willing to rebuild on new terms? And the answer isn't found in a bottle. It's found in those small decisions you repeat every day. The ones that seem too easy to matter, but compound into power. Power to move without pain. To connect without fear. To rest without regret. So yes, 7 days from now, you'll feel the first signs. 14 days in, you'll feel more like yourself. And by day 30, You might not believe who's looking back at you in the mirror. And if you're thinking, that sounds good, but I've made mistakes, I've wasted time. Let me say something to you, you're not broken. You're rebuildable. That's exactly where we go next. Let's stop pretending that you're too old to change. That your energy is gone. That your strength has faded. That your best days are behind you. Because that's not the truth. What's actually happening is this: your body is waiting for the right switch. Not a supplement. Not a pill. A signal. A consistent, steady reminder that says, we're not done, we're not declining, we're rebuilding. I want to tell you about Bruce. He was 76. Widower. Used to work in auto repair. Strong hands. Quiet eyes. He came into my office one afternoon and said, "Doc, I feel invisible. Like the world's moving and I'm just standing still." He wasn't sick. But he had surrendered. He was going through the motions, eating whatever was easy, sitting most of the day, falling asleep in front of the TV, and wondering why everything felt dull. I didn't give him a big plan. No overhaul. I just asked him to try 3 things for 30 days. Start the morning with a real breakfast, banana, avocado, water. Move every hour, even if just to stretch. And once a day, call someone. Anyone. Just to say hi. He rolled his eyes a little. But he agreed. And 2 weeks later, he came back in, standing taller. He laughed for the first time in months. He said, "Doc, I feel like I've re-entered my life," not because he found a new drug. Not because he joined a gym. But because he turned the switch back on. You see, it's never been about age. It's about alignment. When you eat like your body needs fuel, your hormones respond. When you move with intention, your blood starts to flow again. When you sleep deeply, your cells repair. When you connect with others, your brain lights up. These are not miracles. They are the design of your biology, waiting patiently for you to remember. So let me be clear with you, you are not slowing down. You're just out of rhythm. And rhythm can be restored. You are not falling apart. You're simply waiting for the right tools to build again. You are not broken. You are rebuildable. And the moment you start treating your body like it matters again, everything else begins to change. But you don't have to take my word for it. You're about to feel it for yourself. Now let's bring this home, with a new beginning that doesn't need to be dramatic, just real. If you've made it here, you've already taken the first step. Not in your body, but in your mindset. You've chosen to pay attention to yourself again. And that matters more than you know. Because real change never begins with force. It begins with awareness. You don't need to flip your life upside down. You don't need to train like an athlete. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Small. Honest. Real. So here's where I invite you, not as a doctor, but as someone who's walked this path with thousands of men, to choose one thing. Just one. Maybe it's drinking a glass of warm water first thing in the morning. Maybe it's stepping outside into the sunlight for 5 minutes. Maybe it's stretching before bed. Or maybe, it's calling someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Whatever it is, do it with intention. Let that one action be a signal, to your heart, to your brain, to your muscles, that says, we're still in this. We're not done. We're building something better. Because you don't need to chase your youth. You just need to honor your present. Eat with purpose. Move with gentleness. Live with connection. Rest with care. And when you do, aging doesn't feel like a loss. It feels like coming home to a version of yourself that was never gone, just waiting to be remembered. So if this message spoke to something in you, if you felt something shift, even just a little, I invite you to comment, "Alive," below. Let that be your first step. Your first signal. Your first act of choosing to show up, for your health, your energy, and your life. And if someone came to mind while you were listening, a brother, a friend, a father, someone who deserves to hear this, share it. Because we're not meant to age alone. We're meant to rise together. This is your beginning. It doesn't have to be big. It just needs to be real. And I'm right here with you.